Yo, what's going on, guys? It's me, That Weep here, back with part 9, but really, this is What If Naruto Had Devil Fruits 3D to Y, which is a reference to One Piece's time skip in case you didn't get that reference, which you should, since if you're here already, that means you've probably watched the prior 8 parts. Or if YouTube's decided to stop blocking all my notifications and you are new to the series, thank you for being here. Just look down in the description, because I used to say up in the top upper right hand corner there's an iCard, but it doesn't work the same anymore for some reason. Now it's in the description, like underneath the video. It's kind of weird, but basically you'll see the eye pop up, and then you can click and it'll show underneath the video the playlist link, so you can go and catch up and get right back here into the story, where today I'll be covering from where we left off last time with part 8, Mephisto, which covers the entire events of the first 2 arcs of Shippuden, that being the Kazekage rescue mission, as well as Team 7 reunites, which is where Naruto takes the information from Sasori and finds Orochimaru's informant to try and get some information on how to find Sasuke. Regardless of that, for some little update information in case you didn't watch the whole thing last time, Naruto, during the 3-year time skip, consumed the Soru Soru no Mi, which is Big Mom's fruit from One Piece. I think this fruit's perfect for him. A lot of you guys in the comment section of that video seem to agree. If you go back and watch it, I think that he has some really interesting applications of his Soru Soru power, which I explained due to his Uzumaki heritage means he has a higher percentage of life energy, which means he can do more with the Soru Soru no Mi than your average human in the Naruto world could. Okay, but I know you guys have low attention spans, so let's get right into it. If you support me and want me to make more videos, because I am honestly trying to make as many as I can so I can finish all my old series, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. We're aiming to be going on to 40 and then hopefully 50,000 subscribers. That'd be pretty awesome, so, you know, that's kind of the goal right now. So, if you guys help me get there, that'd be sweet. But enough of kissing my own ass, let's get started with What If Naruto Had Devil Fruits 3D to Y. Enjoy! Naruto found himself back in the Leaf Village, having used the last of his strength to use his soul power to make Mimi, the twin clouds that he created last time, fly both himself and the rest of the team that had been sent on the mission to hunt down Orochimaru, that being Kakashi, Hinata himself, and finally Mr. Grumpy and emotionless himself, Sai. Does anyone really like that guy? I don't know. He's alright. I think his backstory is kind of mid compared to some other characters in the show. To me, it felt like he was just written in to have someone on the team. Anyway, Naruto's back at the village and would report to Tsunade alongside Kakashi what happened when they had gone after Orochimaru, Naruto's battle with him, as well as transforming partially into the Nine Tails, and what had happened when his power went out of whack, with him having almost defeated the Sannin before 2 of his commanders had shown up, that being Gaia and Mephisto, which, if you forget, are the titles of Jugo and Sasuke respectively. Naruto would explain his battle against Sasuke, Jugo, as well as Orochimaru before he had gone unconscious, saying that he had woken up with the last of his power to bring them back here so they wouldn't be in danger. Sai would return back to the route to report to Danzo he had failed in assassinating Sasuke Uchiha, to which he would be punished. But we're not going to be talking about that right now. Danzo's plans with the route are something that will be more important later on in the series, since Orochimaru's forces are essentially equal to the strength of that of a Yonko in this timeline. Like I mentioned last part, which I'll reiterate, Orochimaru in original Naruto didn't need to have as many forces or an army in order to achieve his goal. That goal, of course, being to master every jutsu and become immortal. No, because there aren't any such jutsu. There are no jutsu at all in this world, only devil fruits, and once you eat a devil fruit, you can't have another one, right? Well, Orochimaru knows a little better than that. He is, after all, a genius. So, upon seeing that Jinchuriki like Naruto are able to wield the power of both their tailed beast devil fruit, as well as their own, Orochimaru is now after a new power, that being to become a Jinchuriki himself. Yes, so, he is also on the hunt for the tailed beast, just like the Akatsuki, for a different reason. Unlike Madara, or Obito, Orochimaru has no knowledge of the 10 tails. Not really. Instead, he just wants a tailed beast that he can feed a devil fruit to that has the potential to give him immortality. That's why he's been collecting so many devil fruits and building his forces, is to find and take down a tailed beast, find a devil fruit that can present him with an eternal life, essentially giving him his goal in this world, which is to take over everything and become an almighty ruler, since he is a conqueror. And that's pretty much it. Not only did he train Sasuke in the use of haki, but he also promised Sasuke that they would go after Itachi as one of their goals. Since it's now been confirmed through Sasuke, who knows that Itachi has the fourth stellar fruit, which is capable of sealing tailed beasts inside of humans, that's something they need. Hence killing Itachi Uchiha, which is Sasuke's goal, and attaining that devil fruit being Orochimaru's goal in order to make sealing a tailed beast inside himself to give himself immortality possible, it's doable. So that's why Sasuke's been sticking with Orochimaru even after he taught him haki and how to work on improving his devil fruit abilities. Now back to the present, we would be skipping ahead in time a few weeks, going on into the Hidan and Kakuzu arc, which is basically focusing on Shikamaru, Shino, and Team 10 being Asuma. Since, remember, there is no third team from when Naruto graduated because they failed the exam, and in this timeline, they had to wait another year, which meant that Sakura, Ino, and Kiba became Team Kurenai a year later. Anyhow, similar things would occur with Hidan and Kakuzu attacking the Leaf Village, Asuma being the first one to fight back, and Hidan using some weird power to disable and eventually kill Asuma, which is impressive considering that Asuma is a smoke Logia user. So how did Hidan kill him? Well, that is coming down to exactly what weapon he's using. Because Jashinism is still a thing, it's not really a jutsu in this version of events, instead it's like a weird ability, or like the stuff we get in One Piece. So that's how he was able to freeze him. But instead of using haki to kill Asuma, instead Hidan's scythe would be completely made out of sea stone. A sea stone scythe that was made by the Akatsuki, since like I mentioned last part, the Akatsuki are currently the only known group to have produced sea stone equipment, like sea stone handcuffs and weapons. This giving Hidan the advantage even though he's basically weaker than Asuma. He still was able to damage him, weakening his devil fruit power, which Asuma heavily relies on, eventually killing him. This enrages his students, that being Shino, Choji, and Shikamaru, with Shikamaru becoming the main protagonist for a little bit. There is a few differences in this arc with the Kakuzu and Hidan events, particularly that the creation of the Rasen Shuriken never happens, because Jutsu doesn't exist, and there is no Rasengan. Well, I guess I should explain. There was a Rasengan. You see, Minato, while he possessed the Devil Fruit of Law, being the Open Open no Mi, had created a technique that is similar in properties to the Rasengan that you know from the original Naruto, utilizing the awakened full power of his room. Or, in Minato's case, his awakened version, which is called Vroom. V-R-O-O-M, which increases his speed and strength by tenfold, allowing him to contort space within his room, creating miniature condensed spheres, similar to how Ursa Shock works with like the Pawpaw fruit, if you guys know what that is in One Piece. Basically, Minato condenses a ton of air using his room ability, creating like a small sphere. This is essentially the Rasengan, but Minato's dead, so this has no relevance. But the point is that Naruto is not completing the Rasengan because it was never something to be completed. So there is no Rasen Shuriken. There is, however, a training arc for Naruto, with him having been unable to handle Orochimaru, Sasuke, and Jugo. He'd continue training, working on his Devil Fruit ability, specifically controlling the Nine Tails. Something I mentioned in the last part, which was part 8 Mephisto, which is the first half of 3D2Y, which is now what you're watching, is that Naruto was actually stronger when he was in that 1 to 2-tailed state where he could use his Gura-Gura no Mi as well as his Soru no Mi combined with haki, since his mental state was still in a point where he could control his mind and thus his will. So you see, even though his raw strength and speed increases 20-fold whenever he enters into like the 3, 4, 5, 6 tails, or however many tails you want, even though his strength and speed and base stats are higher, because he loses access to his own will, Naruto becoming controlled by the Nine Tails, only the Nine Tails power is being used, which is the Gura-Gura no Mi plus the raw increase in power from a regular Jinchuriki cloak. But alas, Naruto wants to be able to defeat Sasuke in combat should the need arise and bring him home. And in that case, he can't let the Nine Tails get the better of him, meaning he has to learn how to control it. So this training is instead focusing on how he can harness the Nine-Tails power, which is where Tsunade would go and summon Yamato, which is his code name since we never learned his real name. Yamato would have been the one to inherit Hashirama's wood-style Kikagenkai, as well as his Devil Fruit, that being the forest Logia fruit, like what Green Bull has, the Admiral from One Piece. Something I've established early on in this series is that the processes of Kikagenkai and how it works is still the same, essentially, since Devil Fruits just run on chakra and how they operate. Since there's so many nature releases in the original show, it kind of fit in. So, Kikagenkai are still a thing, meaning the Sharingan, the Rinnegan, Byakugan, all of those are real. There's just nothing else that correlates to them, so they're like their own special abilities. What does this mean? Well, the abilities of Wood Style are still the same, meaning that Yamato has the ability to seal the Nine-Tails. You see, this is what Hashirama was able to do in the original as well in this version of events, because he had both Wood Style and the Forest no Mi. As of now in the manga, I don't think, Green Bull has not displayed any sealing type abilities yet. But hey, don't count it out, it could happen. But for now, we'll be keeping those things separate. So, to explain how this works, basically Yamato's entire body is now made of plants because of the forest fruit, like how Hashirama's was, and he also can control it using his wood style in a more efficient manner than just a Logia user would. It's almost like an awakening, which is where you can transform the things around you into your Devil Fruit, like how Doflamingo can turn everything into strings, etc., and, you know, the Ice Fruit versus the Magma Fruit in Punk Hazard. It's the same thing here. So basically, he essentially has the powers of an awakened Devil Fruit, although his Devil Fruit is not awakened because he is enhanced through the genetics that Orochimaru was testing on him when he was still doing experiments back in the Leaf Village, and thus he has basically the same power set as Hashirama. Of course, watered down diet version, since he's not really a true Senju. But regardless, let's continue. Naruto's training would entail him using up all of his energy, training and using attacks, creating homies using his soul power until he passes out, letting the Nine-Tails take over, and then proceeding to have Yamato seal him using his power. Kakashi be supervising transforming himself into Sasuke, since he can transform into his human version, just he can't use his powers, since he did touch his face back in part 1, if you guys remember. Anyway, Naruto would be looking at Kakashi to invoke these feelings of rage that awaken the Nine-Tails power, as he's using this to help him train to get used to the feeling of the Nine-Tails breaking through the seal. It's through this continuously of winding and unwinding the seal that Naruto begin to understand and feel the difference between his own power and that of Nine-Tails. Events would play out with Kakashi temporarily taking on the team captain role so they can go after the Akatsuki, with Shikamaru, Shino, and Choji being more than enough to handle them. And I really mean that, because Shikamaru is way stronger in this timeline. Shikamaru can just sever any of their shadows and kill them instantly, for reference. That's something he could do. Choji is in possession of San Juan's fruit, which is the size fruit, which allows him to become huge, just like his abilities in the original. And Shino, even in the original, was strong. With his bug training abilities alone, now he can store even more of them using Beiji's fruit, which is the Castle fruit. They really don't need Naruto's help here. But for the sake of giving Naruto a win in this arc to match with Sasuke's win against Deidara, which does happen, Deidara is killed by Sasuke in attaining information about Itachi. Sasuke takes him out, taking his Devil Fruit back to Orochimaru. There is a small difference here. When Naruto helps defeat Kakuzu using his Soru no Mi and using Mimi, powering up as he uses electricity, frying and breaking the cells of Kakuzu, Hidan basically gets overwhelmed by the shadows from Shikamaru. Even with his Sea Stone Scythe, he basically is the weakest link here, since he can't use Haki or anything else and just relies on his Jashinism. So Shikamaru would pretty much rip him apart. Naruto would assist Choji and Shino with taking out Kakuzu, and everyone goes home with a last smoke for Asuma from Shikamaru, being symbolic as hell and also one of the coldest moments in anime history. Now, back to Sasuke. Like I was saying earlier, Sasuke has taken care of Deidara, but at this point it's not because he's killed Orochimaru and is now trying to form the Taka. No, actually. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Sasuke still needs Orochimaru around, unfortunately for him, because Sasuke is unable to use Conqueror's Haki. or sage haki, a haki blessed to those with kingly ambitions. Orochimaru has ordered Sasuke to take out any Akatsuki members he comes across because he is also hunting down a tailed beast to fuse with Orochimaru so Orochimaru may consume a second devil fruit, hopefully an immortality fruit once he finds one. As such, it's through this order that Orochimaru orders Sasuke, Jugo, Suigetsu, and Karin as a now under oath Team Taka to hunt down Akatsuki members and take the tailed beasts if they find them, with Orochimaru again hoping to increase his army and just become immortal. But, alas, this is how Sasuke is going to use Orochimaru to find Itachi. In the original, we get this like weird little arc where Jiraiya is investigating the Rain Village, and at that same time Naruto and the others are currently trying to find Sasuke, because he chases Sasuke for like the first half of Shippuden. I'm cutting that. That shit was annoying. I'm sorry, okay? I did not like that arc. Maybe it was just me, it was a mini arc. I liked the Jiraiya scenes, I liked the Sasuke and Itachi scenes. Those we're gonna keep in this. But I have no idea why they would send a team after him, like he was trying to escape or something. This version of Sasuke doesn't have any curse mark or anything to blame on why he's evil. It's just that Sasuke chose this path. So Naruto's not going to go out of his way to make a strike team to go find him for some reason. So instead, we will focus on the Jiraiya and Itachi versus Sasuke fights, since those happen around the same time, and I believe Sasuke then is taken in by Obito in surgery for that week while Naruto battles pain in the original. You can tell if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure this is correct though. Anyway, focusing on Jiraiya. Where we last saw Jiraiya was when he had dropped Naruto off back in the Leaf Village and was given a mission to investigate the Land of Rain. Something strange had happened in this village. There was a massive cloud one day, a few months ago, back when Naruto and Jiraiya were still out training, that he had heard about through rumors. That a cloud had descended from the sky and had picked up the entire hidden city of Rain, lifting it into a sky and creating this sky island. Apparently, whoever had done this was also upgrading technology in the village severely, because threats from that village were increasing every day, with the Rain shinobi being far more capable than they used to be. It was eerie. Any Rain shinobi they had captured or killed only spoke of the god and his angel, God being the ruler of this sky island. Jiraiya would arrive in the Rain Village, rain falling around everywhere except for the city, as if though a hole had been ripped through the sky. This was unnatural, and trust me, like, if anyone's gonna know, it would be me. Because where the cloud had been ripped from the sky was a crack, a shred from the sky, ripped from the clouds that were used to lift the entire hidden city in the rain. The rest of the Land of Rain was covered with storms, which has been the same for decades. Hundreds of years even. While Jiraiya had been undercover moving his way towards the center of the Land of Rain, where the hidden village that was created by Danzo the Salamander back during the beginning of the Third Great Shinobi War, he would see on the side of the road orphans, and he'd see people starving. This didn't look like anything ruled by a god to him. But when he had arrived at the island, he used his arm, stretching it high up into the clouds and grabbing onto solid cloud, using it to pull himself up as he felt this weird sensation on his hand, like as if though he was dipping himself in water. He quickly used his other arm before he lost his energy, grabbing a building and swinging himself up as we hear a snapping sound of the rubber catching. As he enters the clouds, he would suddenly feel a chilling presence all over him. Someone with an incredibly high amount of advanced observation haki was watching him right now. This person knew he had entered into this zone. As Jiraiya peeks around the building, he would see a golden light. As the clouds then ripped from the canopy above, there was always perpetual sun specifically on the village now, with darkness covering the rest of the Land of Rain. Jiraiya would watch as he sees shinobi and their families here, and they seem happy. The contrast itself just from Jiraiya looking into the city versus what he had saw on his way here would stun him, wondering how someone proclaiming to be a god could do this to their people. This shinobi like him judging other people for their cruelty. How ironic. Anyway, Jiraiya would be heavily judging whoever this god was, who was now manipulating the situation in the Land of Rain. Jiraiya would attempt to sneak in close, trying to overhear a group of shinobi talking, but almost immediately as he tries to do so, suddenly a blue light would begin to crackle over the heavens, as the shinobi would scream in terror, running away from the spot. Jiraiya would look up, with it being too late to dodge as he sees it, when a bolt of pure electricity would crash down on him, vaporizing the ground below him, as Jiraiya would be completely unharmed, because he's made of rubber. With this unknown entity realizing that this can't harm Jiraiya, the deity would change their tactics, using the powers instead of their Rinnegan. They would use the Rinnegan just as they did in the original, with this god summoning 6 undead-like creatures, each of them having a Rinnegan of their own apparently, using the chakra rods, which is an ability of the 6 paths from the Rinnegan. This is not a jutsu, by the way. The body of Yahiko as well as 5 others would appear, each of them also possessing their own devil fruit while being dead. All 6 possessing their own devil fruits, but not a single trace of haki. It's almost as if though the Rinnegan itself was creating a seal over the bodies, refusing to allow any devil fruit power inside to escape. Typically when someone dies who possesses a devil fruit, their devil fruit will return to nature and then be reincarnated. But this was unnatural, following some divine power as Jiraiya would watch. At least that's what the shinobi around him would be thinking. As we see Yahiko as well as the 5 other paths of pain, Jiraiya would be horrified as he sees all of them beginning to transform into Logias. He would watch to his horror as Yahiko would begin to transform into magma, having the power of the Magu Magu no Mi inside of him. To his right, the corpse would begin to transform into light, the Pika Pika no Mi. To his left, the corpse would transform into ice, the Hia Hia no Mi. The next would begin transforming to a weird form of gas. And finally, the 5th would begin to transform into a weird swampy substance. That's right. All of the paths of pain in this version of events are eaters, or well, I guess they just contain the powers that Nagato has collected. That being a majority of them being Logia that he's taken from villages all around the world while the Akatsuki was working as a mercenary band, or better well known now as a terrorist organization. Anyway, you may notice that only 5 of the 6 paths possess Logia, with the 6th possessing an unknown devil fruit for now. Jiraiya would dodge out of the way as a blast of all of the elements that he had just seen would come swirling in his direction, creating destruction that would rival that of a god. As half of the island would seem to be engulfed in flame, ice, everything imaginable. Jiraiya would pump his hand to the ground saying, "Gear second!" combining it with his armament haki, as he blocks blows, trying to throw punches at the Logia, having to use haki in order to hit them. Even with incredibly high advanced observation haki, how are they dodging all of my attacks? He'd be thinking as he's throwing thousands of punches of his intense speed. It's like they have eyes. He'd realize it. All of them are connected. Someone else is pulling the strings. It's at this point that he remembers Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan, as Konan herself would appear, shoving a blade of paper through his back, with her having consumed the paper no Mi, or the Kami Kami fruit. This being a Logia devil fruit that essentially grants her complete manipulation over paper, including herself, giving her similar abilities to the original. "Hello, Jiraiya-sensei." Jiraiya would wince as the blade pushes through his body as he coughs up blood, having seen it seconds before, but being unable to dodge out of the way as a swamp had engulfed his feet. It's at this point he turns as he watches as Konan herself would pull the blade out, his blood squirting out as Jiraiya moves back, jumping as he tries covering the wound. He would then use Conqueror's haki, trying to push them back, the corpses being completely unaffected, while Konan would turn to paper, moving away from the waves of Conqueror's haki since she herself does not possess it. But you know who does? You know who does? Suddenly we would hear the sound of electricity zapping as the red-haired man would look far buffer and far less scrawny than he had in the original. This being Nagato, with him wielding the powers of the Gura-Gura no Mi, the Rumble fruit. He'd hold his hand out, blocking, as himself and all of the 6 paths of pain would emit Conqueror's haki, with him channeling it through them, as a huge wave of Conquerors would overpower Jiraiya as he loses the Conqueror's haki match. Jiraiya would once again cough up blood as he's falling unconscious, as all of the paths attack at once, with him having to send a signal back somehow so that they can prepare. How does he do it? As Jiraiya is dying, he would pull out his Vivera card. As he begins carving into his own flesh with his nails the message and code, this burning it into his Vivera card, hoping that Naruto sees it. Naruto, like I said, is not on the mission to Sasuke, so he doesn't get that weird hand on the shoulder thing where the ghost touches him and he just is like, huh? Instead, he literally feels it burning before Jiraiya dies, as he opens his jacket pocket, seeing a weird code. Kakashi would luckily be there as the Vivera card suddenly flashes into a burst of flames. Naruto realizing this was Jiraiya's Vivera card and being the first one to realize that Jiraiya has died. During the 3-year time skip, Jiraiya had given Naruto a Vivera card of his, saying this will allow him to find him whenever he can't catch him by the hot springs pieing on some babes. Naruto had taken it for granted at the time, but Kakashi would explain to him after he woke up from passing out from shock, as he'd lay there asking if Jiraiya Sensei is really dead, that pervy sage. Tsunade would have tears in her eyes looking at the ashes that Kakashi had brought her of the Vivera card, saying that it must be true, asking if there was anything left of him at all. This is when Kakashi would speak up, saying he luckily had his Sharingan out because him and Naruto were training, with him working on the Nine Tails, saying that he had saw this code. Kakashi writing down on a piece of paper the code that Jiraiya had written in the original Naruto series. Also guys, like, I know that's not how Vivera cards work, because it doesn't like show the damage, but for the sake of this story to make sense so Naruto doesn't get fucked by 6 Logia users, we're gonna write this for plot consistency, okay? Just because this is, otherwise it would just be so unfair. Anyway, yeah, Kakashi writes the code out and Naruto recognizes it being a make-out tactics reference as he pulls out the book that Jiraiya had given him, reading the code as he finds that the code says, "The real one is not among them," essentially telling Naruto and the rest nothing, though the message is pretty clear. Tsunade, Kakashi, and the rest have no idea how long it will take for these invisible adversaries to appear or why they had slaughtered Jiraiya like that, but Kakashi would send Naruto to Mount Miyamoku, where Jiraiya had trained when he was young and had learned all 3 types of haki, saying that there are masters there who are frogs, these frog sages, who have complete mastery over all forms of haki, saying that if Naruto is to hope to be able to surpass his master, he'll have to master all 3 types of armament, observation, and conquerors, or sage haki. Basically, instead of getting sage mode, Naruto is going to be training to awaken and learn all 3 types of advanced haki. Meanwhile, back to the fight between Itachi and Sasuke, with those events beginning to unfold, Itachi's goal would be still the same. That shouldn't be changed at all by the affected devil fruits in this universe, so Itachi is still trying to encourage Sasuke through his own death. And so we'll be covering that event first. Sasuke would go off with his teammates being Jugo and Suigetsu, Jugo being the one to have consumed the Lord Third's prior fruit, that being the Buddha mythical Zoan, Sasuke having the power of a Logia of the Flame fruit, and underneath him we would have Suigetsu. Suigetsu being the holder of the Swim Devil Fruit, which I think is just perfect. Anyway, Sasuke would arrive at the battlefield with Kisame, keeping both Jugo and Suigetsu company outside. Sasuke enters into the Uchiha compound where the battle between Itachi and himself begins. Itachi holding the power of Law's Devil Fruit, or in this universe, the Great Fourth Hokage's Devil Fruit, the Ope Ope no Mi. Immediately as Sasuke enters, he's already inside Itachi's range. Luckily, Sasuke has been training and using his haki from Orochimaru even if he hasn't awakened Sage Haki yet, meaning that he is able to defend himself from the effects of Room cutting him into bits. Not that Itachi would do that anyway, even if he wanted to, he probably could. The battle begins with both brothers activating their Sharingan as Sasuke lunges forward, transforming his body into flames, as Itachi would cut up the ground, sending bits of rock flying towards him, coating them in haki. Sasuke would create a move similar to what Kizaru has shown us in One Piece of creating a light sword, would create a blade out of flame, covering it with his haki as he slashes through the rocks and chars them into dust. He'd lunge towards Itachi trying to cut him with the blade, but as he cuts Itachi, he turned to crows. Sasuke realizes that something's wrong as he looks around, realizing that he's been caught in some weird effect. Well, it turns out that through his ability of Room and his Mangekyo Sharingan, Itachi has managed to create an illusionary ability that is essentially the same as a Genjutsu from Naruto, That's how good Itachi is at genjutsu. He's so good at genjutsu, even when it doesn't exist, he creates it in another world. So, that happened. Sasuke's eyes would transform, showing the red and 3 tomoe, as he turns looking around now using observation haki. He would feel a presence behind him as Sasuke transforms his lower half into flames, as Itachi's leg would try and kick Sasuke from behind. Sasuke would turn using a slash of his sword, cutting another crow. Itachi would suddenly appear using Room Shambles. Suddenly, he'd hold up his hand as he uses Room Amaterasu. Itachi would create an Amaterasu flame staring into his portalized room, creating a Rasengan-like type looking ability. This, of course, being the Amaterasu contained inside a room, meaning that the burning flame, which is unextinguishable, would now be a portable-sized weapon. As he throws the ball, it began to fly towards Sasuke, with him still being within his own space. As the Amaterasu is now about to hit Sasuke, through Sasuke's incredible future sight, that being his advanced observational haki, he would see the ball hitting him as his flames would actually be consumed by the black Amaterasu, with the flames actually burning hotter than the flame Logia itself. No way. His Mangekyo ability is as strong as a devil fruit? Sasuke would move his head just in time as the ball of Amaterasu would crash into a stone wall behind him, turning everything into dust as the flame begins to spread. Itachi began coughing as blood comes out of his throat, with Sasuke having barely landed any attacks, but still Itachi's stamina eating down from his disease. Which, by the way, is due to be speculated because of Itachi's overuse of his Mangekyo Sharingan, so it should still apply here, even if it is a chakra disease. Sasuke would take advantage of this, flying into the air as he blasts a few finger pistol shots of flame at Itachi. Itachi would use his room defending himself with a shield, as he uses Amaterasu to block the fire, coughing up more blood. Sasuke would throw his fist back as he transforms his entire body slowly into flames, using his ultimate technique that he's been creating over the time skip. Rillian. With the flames roar. Sasuke would swipe his hand down exactly like how he would have Kirin, his lightning dragon in the original, summoning forth Relian. A ginormous dragon created out of flames would roar as it flies down from the sky above, crashing into Itachi. Itachi would hold his hands up, using it just in time as the entire area would be covered in smoke and flames having been exploded from impact. This is when the smoke and dust clears and Sasuke would see a giant creature made of chakra. This being the Susanoo. This being Itachi's Susanoo. Sasuke would be basically out of power as he falls back, trying to cover his fist in haki again after having used all of it on that dragon, but it would be useless as Itachi slowly approaching, slumbering towards him. As Sasuke is trying his best not to piss his pants basically, Itachi would slump forward as he puts his hand right above Sasuke's eye before touching his forehead with blood and falling to his knees, crashing to the ground as he dies. Back to Naruto. Naruto would have been training with the Toads, having been working on mastering advanced versions of all 3 types of haki. Suddenly, a bird made out of ink would come crashing into Mount Miyaboku with a paper note saying Naruto needs to come back now. Sai having sent out the message immediately as a floating island on clouds, that being the entire hidden village from the rain, was slowly spotted approaching the Leaf Village. Naruto would use Mimi using his Sorusoro no Mi power, flying back and thanking the Toads for everything, as he's basically got it down. Flying back to the village as he would arrive to find dust and an entire crater in the mountainside, the Hokage's faces having been destroyed. Mere moments ago, he had arrived. Yahiko, or I should say, his corpse, possessed by Nagato's Rinnegan, having used Shinra Tensei, the Rinnegan ability to destroy the entire village. Tsunade would try to be healing people using her power, saving as many as she could, but because there is no such thing as a summoning jutsu in this version of events, she isn't contracted to Katsuyu, even if she did train in Shikotsu Forest. All she could do was heal people with her Devil Fruit, and try and defend as many as possible. But a majority of people died from that attack, with Katsuyu having protected thousands of people in the original event. That doesn't happen here. Kakashi has also died, fighting one of the pains in combat, Konohamaru still successfully takes out one of the paths of pain, having consumed Asuma's smoke devil fruit and having used it to basically choke the life out of one of them, having used the effects of the smoke to shut down the inside of the corpse's body, basically ruining the blood flow to the Rinnegan and cutting off the swamp sixth path of pain. Now all Naruto has to face is the other Logia powers, as well as the last path that I had not revealed their devil fruit yet. That path, of course, being the Zushi no Mi, gravity. The healer path, the Nara path, would have this power, using it to be the container for Jinchuriki, using it alongside Chibaku Tensei. Naruto would arrive and the fight would begin. From the moment Naruto enters the battlefield, he would know that he's in a losing position, as Yahiko would transform into magma, throwing fists of lava towards him. Naruto would grit his teeth, pulling his fist back as he covers it with Hashoken, then advances it further with emission type advanced armament Haki. He throws fist forward with a punch, deleting the magma fists, as he then throws the hit connecting with Yahiko. Yahiko's would get sent flying back, with the Diva Path still being out of commission because it hasn't recharged from that massive attack it had used to destroy the Leaf Village. Naruto would turn, feeling the hairs on the back of his neck stand, with his observation Haki activating. We see a flashback back to Mount Miyaboku where Naruto is basically exclusively training in observation Haki, since this was his worst form of Haki by far, with Jiraiya having essentially given up on training him in it during the 3 years. With Naruto sitting in the Sage Oil, just like how he had learned Sage Oil in the original, he would be able to tap into a sort of semi-observation Haki. His version of advanced observation Haki being awakened by this, as he has the ability to feel the emotions of other people. Essentially like what Kobe can do from One Piece, which is pretty much a good tie-in for him considering who he is, his bonds with other people, and also Sage One in the original. So I think him having Kobe's version of advanced observation Haki, which allows him to feel others' thoughts and emotions, would be more fitting for his character, versus Sasuke, whose advanced observation Haki is Future Sight. Naruto would turn, feeling the malice, as he dives out of the way, dodging the blast of light, with another of the paths being the consumer of the Glint Devil Fruit, shoving blasts of light at him. Naruto would use his Soru no Mi, powering himself up as he absorbs the light, transforming it into a homie, creating a light homie, naming him Apollo. With this, Naruto would coat his feet in Apollo, using him to increase his movement speed. He'd move just as fast as the Glint Devil Fruit Eater, throwing kicks of light and blasting back, covering his beams with advanced armament Haki. This version of Naruto is much stronger than his original counterpart with just Sage Mode, because he's able to manipulate the world around him with his Devil Fruit. Not to mention that because Naruto's a hard worker, unlike someone like Big Mom who has the Soru no Mi, the way he uses his power is definitely different. Anyway, Naruto would successfully take down both the Logia eaters of the Gas and Glint Devil Fruit. Naruto would turn, feeling the hair on his neck stand again, this time being the Shinra Tensei, Almighty Pull, as he sees the Diva Path trying to pull him towards him with his other hand covered in magma. Naruto would feel his body moving faster forward, as he can't even pull back using the Glint power on his feet from Apollo. Apollo would get ripped off of him, saying, "Master," as Naruto gets sent flying forward, and Yahiko is about to punch his stomach through with a magma devil fruit. As he's about to do this, Naruto would feel his life flashing before his eyes. Before Naruto can be hit by the Magu no Mi, we would see her appear. Hinata. Hinata would leap out from the rubble, transforming as a purple substance would cover her body, as she lunges forward saying no, as a giant purple dragon of poison would move between Naruto and Yahiko. A poison lion, like her twin lion fist, would appear from her fist, lunging forward and consuming the magma, purple steam flowing into the air from the burning poison. Hinata would then attack the Zushi no Mi with her poison devil fruit, having eaten the fruit that Naruto had given her after the village had been attacked and their entire storage shed had basically been exploded everywhere. Hinata had already seen the fruit in action, so she knows what it's capable of, and she's also a master of Haki trained by Tsunade, so I think it's not that unreasonable that she's able to use it. We now get Naruto and Hinata versus the rest of the Paths of Pain, that being just the Magu no Mi and the Hiya no Mi, so ice and magma. the power of the two would-be fleet commanders from One Piece. Now we have Hinata with her poison Delphi back to back with Naruto. Hinata's poison attacks wouldn't seem to be doing much damage to them since they're already dead, so the poison's not really affecting anything besides dissolving their skin, which is horrifying in its own way. This is how she had taken down the Zushi fruit, with the skin having peeled off and the Delphi power escaping. Nagato would basically have abandoned the corpse to focus his mind and energy on his last two. Naruto would grin, saying he'll take on that Sasuke ripoff, implying that the Magu no Mi is weaker than Sasuke, which is funny in its own way. As Naruto lunges forward, coating himself with both Apollo and Mimi, creating a thunder and light combo. Using his powers, he would take down Yahiko, actually defeating the Path of Pain, using his power of Hashoken Armament Haki as well as the Sorosoro no Mi. Hinata would be struggling a bit with the ice guy, and Naruto would turn, blasting him with a light kick, completely shattering him as he then pounds him with advanced armament haki. Naruto would laugh out loud, looking off in the distance, seeing the huge island with the clouds underneath it, laughing, thinking that he had won. But as he turns around, suddenly, he would feel something, and it's his hair rising on the back of his neck, but it's not observation haki. Naruto instinctively put his hands up as Mimi would absorb the blast of lightning. But Hinata! Naruto would turn after the blast had ended as Hinata would be laying on the ground, her heart having seemingly stopped, as her eyes would be fading, having been blasted by Nagato's devil fruit, the Gura-Gura no Mi. With a warping a sound, we would suddenly see both of them, as himself, God and his angel would appear. Nagato and Konan of the Akatsuki. Naruto, seeing what they had done to Hinata, would go into a rage, as Tsunade does her best trying to rescue Hinata before Naruto would kill all of them, assumingly. Naruto would suddenly feel the Gura-Gura no Mi power entering him, as Naruto would hold his hand up, now able to use all powers of the Rinnegan since they all returned to him, saying it's a shame that those Devil Fruits were wasted like that. Holding up, he would then use Chibaku Tensei, trying to contain Naruto as rocks would begin pulling Naruto up into the sky. Naruto would roar as the Nine Tails would begin to take over, using the power of the Gura-Gura no Mi and shattering the Chibaku Tensei from inside, completely ripping it apart even before he's transforming into the Nine Tails. Both Mimi and Apollo would be getting enhanced by the Nine Tails chakra, creating massive storm clouds and a basically blinding sun. Konan would use her paper no Mi as she then moves out of the way of a blast of light. Naruto would lunge out of the broken Chibaku Tensei, throwing a punch at Nagato. Nagato would smirk using his Rinnegan as he just dodges out of the way, with him and Naruto now entering combat and him using his observation haki, easily avoiding this beastly Naruto's attacks. As Naruto's anger causes him to enter into the 6-tail state. No, 7. 8. As the Nine Tails begins to grow from his body, he'd be getting blasted by lightning from using the Gura-Gura no Mi as the limbs and tails of the Nine Tails are getting charred as they're regenerating. The Nine Tails would roar, creating a tailed beast bomb as he launches it towards Nagato. Nagato would simply smirk as he holds his hand up saying, "Il Thor." Using his Rinnegan abilities, he would then enhance this blast of lightning with a Shinra Tensei, the lightning crashing into Kurama as the beast roars in pain. Meanwhile, inside of Naruto's body, as the seal is breaking, suddenly, the Nine Tails transformation would stop, as we see him, the 4th Hokage. Somehow, he had imbued his energy, his soul, into his last final room, using this to seal the tailed beast inside of his son. The 4th Hokage would hold his hand up, stopping the seal from breaking, telling him about his son's origins and that he's his father, saying that he can't let it end here, and that he'll hold the seal open just enough to give Naruto enough power to finish off this threat once and for all. Naruto would hug his dad, thanking him. As they break out of the seal, Naruto completely re-emerging in the Three Tails chakra mode state, with him having complete control over his body as he now has access to all of his power. The Gura-Gura, Nine Tails enhanced, with his haki as well as the Sorosoro no Mi and Hashoken. That is a laundry list of powers, by the way. With this, he would then use both his enhanced Apollo and Mimi to speed blitz, using the power of the speed of light. Using Apollo, he would kick with advanced armament haki, kicking Nagato in the gut as he'd feel his ribs shatter under the blow. with Naruto having weak advanced armament haki due to his Logia nature. Nagato would laugh, saying that tailed beast doesn't belong to him, saying that he should have all of them to hold this world in true peace under a god like himself. This is when Konan and Nagato try and double team Naruto, but it would be useless. Naruto would roar as he creates a miniaturized tailed beast bomb and enhances it with his Soro no Mi, blasting it towards Nagato. Nagato would teleport out of the way, with Konan also trying to get out of it, but getting seared from the attack, her right arm being completely destroyed. As Naruto is doing his best to fight them off, those who had survived the attack in the Leaf Village would hold their hands out, with Naruto feeling something strange inside of him. Wait, what is this? Naruto would suddenly feel himself getting stronger as he feels the cheers from everyone in the Leaf Village, cheering Naruto on, saying that he can win this, to kick their asses. Naruto would literally be getting stronger from the power of friendship, as unlike Big Mom who rules the Soro no Mi power through fear, Naruto's bonds of trust, friendship, and loyalty would give him the strength of a piece of everyone's soul from the Leaf Village, all of the souls of those who had fallen, all combining and giving him power. Naruto would yell out in a rage, as a massive quake would cover his fist, enhanced by the Soro no Mi's power. Naruto would be thinking, this can't be happening, as Naruto would lunge at him with his full power of a combined attack with the power of everyone in the Leaf Village. Kaishin Hakai, which roughly translates to Seaquake Destroyer. Naruto would try his best to avoid the attack, but with Naruto's speed and strength and power, it's over. He'd throw the attack, hitting him directly in the chest, as Nagato's body would shatter into pieces, crumbled and broken. With this advanced armament haki projecting from Naruto, Nagato would fall to his knees, his bones having shattered, his body slowly laying there and dying, as Nagato would have one last talk with Naruto. Naruto discussing with the cycle of hatred how Naruto had just avenged his master, and now it's likely Konan would try and avenge him. Naruto would listen to Nagato's dying words, saying that he can't forgive him for what he's done here, saying that it wasn't right to kill everyone here because of his own selfish reasons, like despising the world. Nagato would barely be talking with his vocal cords straining, as he says he just wanted people to have someone to believe in. As Naruto's light would leave his eyes, he would tell Naruto that there's one way, saying that if he really wishes to bring everyone back and truly end this cycle, then he should do it himself. Telling Naruto to take his eyes and use his power to manipulate souls to return those from death. Konan would be shocked, asking if Nagato's really serious, as Nagato smiles one last time, saying that this is what he truly wanted from the beginning. The memories of him, Yahiko, and Konan all traveling together and forming the Akatsuki, running into those two brats, Raiha and what was his name again? All of the memories he had made, Danzo, creating the Akatsuki. He'd smile, his thoughts becoming jumbled, as Nagato would pass away, dying. Konan would have tears in her eyes as Naruto's still confused, asking what he meant. Konan would pick up Nagato's body, telling Naruto that Naruto wanted him to have these, as she would remove Nagato's eyes, handing them to Naruto. Naruto would run over to Tsunade, asking her for the help, with Konan watching and telling her what she wanted him to do. Konan would take Nagato in peace, saying that she'll be taking the Rain Village back, as she then flies up with her paper no Mi and creates a giant fan, now moving back the massive island city back to the Rain Village, and to give Nagato a proper place to rest. Tsunade would be horrified, but would still comply with Naruto as he did save everyone, as using the power from the souls he had collected from everyone with the few years he'd shaved off with the Soro fruit, he would have enough power to use the Rinnegan and use Rinne Rebirth. So instead of using his entire life cycle like Naruto had in the original, Naruto, using the about 2 years shaved off from everyone in the Leaf Village who had survived, would sacrifice about 1,000 years of time. That being 500 people having given 2 years, Naruto would use 1,000 years worth of soul power to generate his own Rinne Rebirth. Using both Rinnegan, he would then revive everyone who had died, with their bodies being recovered as their souls returned to place. Naruto basically having control over life and death itself. So to go over that laundry list again, he has mastered Hoshoken arts. He can use all 3 types of advanced observation, armament, and conqueror's haki. He has the Gura-Gura and the Soro no Mi, and now possesses the Rinnegan. And I complain about Zether's OP would've. Not even mentioning the Ninetales, which is its own thing. The battle would be over. With Naruto having won, he would be now known as the hero of the Hidden Leaf. As recovery efforts would begin, everyone having been revived. Yamato would use his wood style to help make the wood for new houses, everyone taking part in rebuilding. Naruto, having learned this new asset of his power, would even take some years from everyone who had been revived, asking to borrow them temporarily to help restore the village, with him taking about a year from everyone and using that power to create thousands of clones, creating these shadow clones, copies made out of smoke from Konohamaru's devil fruit that are imbued with the souls of individuals who had given him their power. These smoke clones turning into the original soul holder's soul. So if Kakashi gave a year, basically we have a Kakashi clone made out of smoke now. And with that, Naruto would be successfully doubling the manpower and restoring the village, and everyone would be cheering for him again. Even Sakura and Kiba, who had been despising Naruto at this point, would be impressed, seeing how powerful he was, and his strength that he had defeated like 8 Logia users by himself, essentially, until Hinata joined the fight. Speaking of Hinata, when Hinata had launched into the fight, having to protect Naruto, basically saying she loved him like she had in the original, Naruto heard her this time, because Naruto spent a lot more time with her than Sakura, and they would talk about it. Naruto having the Rinnegan and her having the Byakugan, they both got that funky eye pairing, you know what I mean? But I digress. The first thing Naruto would say is that he's sorry that she had to consume that devil fruit, saying that he knew she didn't want to do it. Hinata would shake her head smiling, saying that she was glad she was able to help in some way, saying that when she had woken up, it was right next to her, thinking it must have been the will of the devil fruit itself so that she could save him. Speaking of devil fruits, before we get to that Hinata-Naruto talk, the devil fruit powers within Nagato, as well as his 6 paths of pain, hadn't reborn. It was just really odd. The only one they'd actually found was the Gura-Gura no Mi, which was based off of its view and their experience within the past before it was in Nagato's hands, back during the first Hokage's era. Basically, they had recognized the Rumble fruit for it being so infamous back in the past, but none of the other fruits would appear, them being incredibly powerful Logias. It's like that the devil fruits that had been inside of those 6 paths of pain weren't the real ones. Naruto had noticed it himself when he had been battling them, that the powers of the Logia had been being used rather roughly, with most of them not taking advantage of their physical enhancement to nullify physical attacks, and instead focusing on just attacking him. It's almost as if perhaps they were a more watered-down version of the fruit to begin with, like someone had made a clone of a devil fruit or something. Anyway, with this, Naruto has finally avenged Jiraiya, and he would have his talk with Hinata saying that he'd like to think about it, saying that if she really does like him like that, then he's honored, and he promises to give her an answer after he helps finish reconstructing the village and can put his thoughts together. After these events, we get back to Sasuke with Obito telling him about the truth behind Itachi, him now beginning to hate the Leaf Village as well as Danzo, and as well awakening the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Obito would know that Naruto possesses the Rinnegan, having seen the devil fruits that he had been lending to Nagato rot away. These being a rare experiment of his and, well, Zetsu's, of cloning some devil fruits in their possession, creating smile devil fruits of Logia. How can Zetsu do this? Well, for those of you who know Naruto lore, it should make sense to you. I know One Piece fans will say that you can't clone Logias, but I think that there's a little exception here. Anyway, back to the plot. Sasuke would now have a flame in his heart against the Leaf Village, hearing about how Naruto had actually defeated the Akatsuki members that had been sent there, and how powerful he had become, being now idolized as potentially becoming the next Hokage. Sasuke had been abducted by Obito early in this timeline, so he'd been split up from Jugo, Kisame, and Suigetsu, so he has the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan before going to the 5 Kage Summit. He would don an Akatsuki robe, officially betraying Orochimaru and now joining the Akatsuki in Itachi's place. Tsunade would be exhausted from having healed everyone in the Leaf Village who hadn't been resurrected by Naruto's Rinnegan ability, and as such, Danzo would volunteer to be the stepped-in Hokage for the 5 Kage Summit that was now being called by the 4th Raikage. This time though, it's because of Orochimaru, with him being pissed at the Leaf Village for letting their rogue go free for so long, Orochimaru having attacked his 8-tailed Jinchuriki alongside Jugo and Suigetsu. Naruto would stay at the Leaf Village with Tsunade helping with the recovery efforts, him and Hinata having a slightly different vibe, with Sakura and Ino smirking whenever they saw the two together, with Hinata and Naruto both being blushy and flirty now. At the 5 Kage summit, Sasuke would show up, with Raikage wondering where the real Hokage was, and Danzo explaining that the Hokage had sent him as a temporary stand-in Hokage due to the events that have currently happened in the Leaf Village with the attack from the Akatsuki. He would attempt to use Shisui's eye, which he still has by the way, to manipulate everyone in the room, and would get called out for it, which is pissing off the Raikage even more, when suddenly Sasuke would arrive. Sasuke would attack the 5 Kage summit as he uses Amaterasu flame control, his Logia having been enhanced by his Mangekyo powers in perfection, as his body would transform into black flames, giving him his own Logia transformation, allowing him to switch between Amaterasu and regular flames. Saint Elmo's fire, Amaterasu mode. In Sasuke's Amaterasu mode, he'd be able to transform all of his attacks into black flames, attacking both Danzo, the Raikage, not to mention everyone else, including Gaara and the other Kage. The Raikage's armor would be burned off as he rips it off himself, with the black flames consuming him, wondering how this brat has that guy's power. That being Itachi from the Akatsuki. Sasuke would hold out both of his hands, blasting both Amaterasu and regular flames, and then using the Susanoo to defend himself from the attacks of the Raikage. He would actually be winning, with his Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan Amaterasu mode being strong enough to handle 4 of the 5 Kage himself. That is until Onoki shows up and uses his Devil Fruit power. Onoki would use his special paramecia, being the Party no Mi, the Particle Devil Fruit, allowing him to control particles and shatter them, basically giving him access to particle style like he would have in the original with his own Devil Fruit. He would create a sphere of an attack of particles that would blast the Susanoo, ripping it off of Sasuke as Sasuke would be damaged, sent flying through a wall from his Susanoo's cracking and explosion. Obito would arrive as Sasuke escapes, declaring war on the shinobi world and the start of the Great Fourth Shinobi War. He'd be using his Kamui as all of their attacks would be completely ineffective against him. During the chaos, Danzo would run for his life trying to escape from Sasuke's wrath, and then being caught in that valley with the bridge, and having no hostage, Sasuke would begin destroying Danzo. Danzo would be using the Izanagi to return himself from death, feeling the burning pain from Amaterasu roasting him over and over again. As Naruto, Kakashi, and the rest did not come to the 5 Kage summit in this version of events, Sasuke just kills Danzo and then leaves with Obito, with him being completely fine and unblinded and reveling in his new power. Danzo being destroyed over 50 times, his Izanagi burning out from Sasuke's Amaterasu's, as he then creates a normal red and a black flame sword in both hands, cutting down Danzo as he burns him alive, letting Danzo roast for his sins. Enjoy your stay in hell, you bastard. Sasuke would spit on Danzo's ashes as he disappears, with the news reaching back to the Leaf Village that Sasuke has betrayed Orochimaru and is now a part of the Akatsuki. Naruto would be even more pissed off, wondering what the hell happened. As well as the Leaf Village now being freed from Danzo, the Root would be having its own disorganized mess, as the Leaf Village would then begin to prepare to mobilize for war into the 4th Great Shinobi War. Tsunade would come up with a plan with her other higher-ups, sending Naruto to the Turtle Island per the 4th Raikage's request, so that him and Killer Bee, the 8-tailed Jinchuriki, would stay safe, with only a tail of the 8-tails having been captured via the Akatsuki. When the war begins, Naruto would immediately feel something wrong, his advanced observation haki activating as he feels the cries of millions, his perception only enhanced by the strength of both Rinnegan. He would then face the Waterfall of Truth, where inside he would find an evil version of himself, this version being one who had abandoned his dreams. This grotesque Naruto would have the power of the Gura-Gura no Mi flowing through him as he tries to attack our Naruto. Naruto would give this Naruto a hug, telling him it's alright, as he tells him that he's going to forgive him for everything. While Naruto is facing the Waterfall of Truth with Killer Bee after having gained his trust and the trust of the animals on the island, Obito is freaking out. He would have gone to the Rain Village to take Naruto's eyes upon his death, with his Akatsuki ring having died with him, only to find his eyes having been removed, and Konan to be nowhere to be found? That's right, Konan had seemingly gone missing. Well, as it turns out, after Konan had returned the Rain Village back to where it rightfully belonged, leaving Nagato's burial there for those who had respected him as god, Konan would leave the island, having been recruited by Orochimaru to betray the Akatsuki now that she was going to be hunted down by Obito for failing the mission and also giving away the Rinnegan. And so, Konan would take Sasuke's place at Orochimaru's side in order to help bring down the Akatsuki. This is going to be interesting, because with the war starting, we have a 3-war front. With Orochimaru's forces being the size of an army by themselves, we also have all of the major villages alongside the Akatsuki and their giant Zetsu army. One major difference, though, is that because there is no reanimation jutsu, we never get any reanimated Madara. No reanimations at all, which was actually the original plan of Obito, with him still being seen as Madara. This means that Obito's identity is never revealed to be fake, and when the war begins, instead of having a Fox Madara showing up at the battlefield, Tobi himself, or Obito, would arrive instead. What this also means is that there is significantly less of a threat at the battlefield. However, we also don't get the Hokage being revived, instead having a 3-way war with each side wanting to win and take out the other two. Konan is mostly staying with Orochimaru for now, as she's currently wanted as a terrorist by the other villages, and this is basically just her lying low at this point. Anyway, you'll already notice one difference between the White Zetsu is that they all possess the rare Logia powers that the 6 Passive Pain had, with these again being copy Devil Fruits that Zetsu's created. To explain that a little bit now, Zetsu is the son of Kaguya Otsutsuki, the progenitor of all Devil Fruits from the Chakra tree. He basically has manipulation and control over all of Chakra, and thus Devil Fruits. This was shown when he was able to manipulate Hashirama's wood style to give all of the White Zetsu's wood style in the original, and I think he'd be able to do the same with Devil Fruits acting as a vessel, letting him create perfect smile fruits, essentially doing what Vegapunk couldn't in the original One Piece, and making clones of Logia fruits, imbuing these fakes inside of his White Zetsu clones in order to make them far more powerful than their original versions would be. This is devastating to the Shinobi Alliance, with a majority of them not knowing Haki because you have to be trained by someone else or have it awakened. There would be some awakenings in the battlefield of just base level Haki, like what happened to Kobe in the Marineford War, but honestly, most of them are fucked. Unless they are lucky enough to possess a Devil Fruit that can counter whichever Logia the Zetsu possesses, most of them are dead. Essentially, all of the shinobi who aren't Jonin are pretty much screwed. Comparatively to Orochimaru's forces, who almost all of them have at least base level of Haki, since Orochimaru trained all of his subordinates and they've trained their subordinates and so on and so forth, with him having an army of Haki users. Sasuke would arrive at the battlefield facing against Gaara alongside Obito, with their own army of White Zetsus as the battle would begin. Back to Naruto. Naruto had beaten the Waterfall of Truth and was now facing the Nine Tails, inside of his own seal. As he's fighting off the Nine Tails in this chakra tug-of-war, he would eventually have the chains pulling out of his body as Kushina's chakra would awaken. The chakra chains being the Uzumaki clan Kekigenkai. Naruto would speak of his mother hearing about the story of how Minato had saved her life, her red hair, and how both of the men in her life, Naruto and Minato, loved her red hair, with Naruto wishing he had it too. Kushina would ask what was going on with his eyes, with him explaining how he had met another one of an Uzumaki, that being Nagato, saying that he had the same red hair as she did, explaining that he had given these Rinnegan to him upon his passing. Kushina would tell Naruto he should be able to use the Rinnegan to hold back the Nine Tails, like how a Sharingan user can, and then she would let go of the chains, giving her son a hug and saying good luck, as he finishes off the battle, throwing massive lightning bolts and light blasts inside his soul, using the Sorosoro no Mi power on the Nine Tails, and overpowering it. Even with the Gura-Gura no Mi shaking the entire realm, he would win, pulling the chakra and making the Nine Tails look anorexic, as he basically shoves it back in a cage. Pitas should really get on Naruto's case at this point. But anyway, Naruto would get back to the real world, his body being covered in a golden light, and he'd feel it. The shaking power of the Gura-Gura no Mi, the tremor fruit, was completely under his control. Naruto and Killer Bee would make a break for it, with them heading out to the war. The moment that Naruto attained KCM, the Nine-Tails chakra in the first state would enhance all of his strengths. His Devil Fruit, the Soul Fruit being boosted by it, not to mention all of his haki. His haki would have been tripled, the amount of it just being insane. His chakra being so much higher with the Nine-Tails power, it was like he was a different person. Naruto would essentially have enough power to maintain his Rinnegan with little to no stamina drain, as well as being significantly stronger, faster, and having a higher amount of Conqueror's haki, as well as just everything else. And to the Gura-Gura completely being under his control. Killer Bee and Naruto would leave with him escaping Iruka with ease. As Killer Bee and Naruto are approaching the barrier wall, Naruto would tell him he's got this, as Killer Bee was about to use a tailed beast bomb. Naruto would pull his hand back, creating a tailed beast bomb, and then enhancing it as a ball of white light would cover it, being the power of the Quick Fruit. Naruto would put his hand forward as he throws a punch with the enhanced tailed beast Gura-Gura bomb, hitting the barrier and shattering all 4 barriers. All of the barriers crumbling to the ground as the Eater of the Bara no Mi would flinch, wondering what the hell kind of power was that. Having broken some invincible barriers, Naruto and Killer Bee would arrive at the battlefield, with Naruto using his enhanced observation haki from the Nine-Tails, combined with the Nine-Tails chakra natural effects, to find where the most people were. Naruto would use his Soul power to create clones like he had back when he was helping recover the Leaf Village, and would send clones to every single battlefield, each of them having portions of the Nine-Tails chakra. At the battlefield with Obito and Sasuke attacking the allied shinobi forces of Gaara as well as several other villages, instead of having a Madara versus the entire shinobi alliance, we get Obito fighting the entire shinobi alliance by himself. He'd be doing this to try and draw out Nine-Tails so he can claim the Rinnegan back, as well as take the Nine-Tails. And it would work. Using his power, Onoki, Gaara, and all of the shinobi there would be made helpless, as Obito holds his hand up, saying, "Face the strength of Madara Uchiha. Black hole." Obito would hold up his hand, his fist becoming covered in darkness, having inherited Madara's Devil Fruit. The Devil Fruit known as the Yami no Mi. He would take the powers of all Devil Fruit Eaters as Sasuke would use his black flames burning the battlefield, as Obito would laugh at the suffering of the shinobi who were in this hell of a world. This Obito is nigh invincible. Because of his Kamui, he doesn't even have the weakness of the Yami Fruit, which is in increased pain. Because he has Kamui, which means he can make his body untouchable like a Logia, without the downsides of the Yami no Mi. It is a perfect Devil Fruit for him, making Obito one of the strongest people in this universe. Naruto arrives at the battlefield, seeing as the entire allied shinobi forces has been wiped out, with several of them having been sucked into Obito's darkness and spat out, being covered in darkness, sweat, fear, and tears. Obito would laugh, his mask glowing from his red eye, as he says this is all you shinobi can ever accomplish. Both Obito and Sasuke, after they'd finished committing arson, would turn to see the golden light having emerged on the battlefield as Naruto Uzumaki would arrive. Those who had survived would turn seeing the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki as they scream for him to run away, saying they can't lose him here. Naruto would essentially ignore Obito, staring down Sasuke, as Sasuke feels a chill. The army of Logia-empowered White Zetsus marching onto the battlefield to take out the rest of the Haki users who had resisted or evaded Obito's widespread darkness attack. Naruto would simply turn towards the White Zetsu holding out his palm, as his enhanced Conqueror's Haki would send a blast of Conquerors, Sage Haki, raging over the battlefield, protecting his allies and knocking out 150,000 White Zetsu in a single attack. Naruto would then look up towards where Sasuke and Obito were standing, saying that, "Is this really what you want, Sasuke?" His voice being amplified through the air. Sasuke's eyes had a new gleam to them. This of course being his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, as he notices that Naruto's eyes have changed themselves. Obito would scoff, saying those eyes don't belong to him. They would belong in much better hands, such as my own.
"Come, Nine-Tails. Return my Rinnegan to their rightful place."
Screw you! Stay out of this cinnamon roll. This is a chat between me and Sasuke. You got it? Sasuke would yell out saying he doesn't understand anything, saying that his brother, Itachi, lived and died for that Leaf Village. You have no idea of the darkness that covers that place you protect. Naruto would stare back at him, pointing as he says, "The darkness stands right beside you." Sasuke would yell out, "Enough talk," as he flies forward with black flames covering him as he says, "Amaterasu mode," beginning to blast Naruto with flames. Naruto would simply look up, holding up his hand as he says, "Shinra Tensei." Sasuke would feel a blast of shock and vibration as he had enhanced the Shinra Tensei with the Gura-Gura no Mi, shattering Sasuke even with his advanced armament haki covering him as he falls to the ground, sputtering his flames back into his flesh. Obito would tell Sasuke that he's far out of his league, causing Sasuke to feel even more enraged, as Obito would land to the ground, saying he'll take on the Nine Tails. It's at this moment that Orochimaru, Jugo, Suigetsu, Karin, and the rest of his forces would arrive at the battlefield, finding Madara and asking where he's keeping those tailed beasts of his. Obito would realize that he's outnumbered, telling Black Zetsu over his comm of the Akatsuki ring to bring it out, summoning the Geto Mazo statue and beginning the true end of the war, via feeding all the tailed beasts into them except for the 8 tails and 9 tails, using the tentacle from the 8 tails and all the chakra from Ginkaku and Ginkaku's corpses in order to revive a unfinished Geto Mado. The statue would roar, seeking out the 9 tails chakra in front of it, as Naruto would have to take on the 10 tails shell. Naruto would grit his teeth as he holds his hands together, channeling chakra into his Rinnegan, and uses Chibaku Tensei, trying to seal the Geto-Mato statue before Sasuke says, "Oh no, he doesn't," as he blasts Amaterasu flames, burning the stone away before it can begin covering the statue. Sasuke would move at blinding speeds, trying to attack Naruto with his black flame sword, Naruto turning and blocking with Mimi, as the cloud would use electricity against its flames. Naruto would back off, throwing a kick from Apollo that would blast light at Sasuke. Sasuke barely dodging with Future Sight, the speed of light. Naruto and Sasuke's battle would begin with Naruto obviously going easy on Sasuke, not trying to kill him, barely using the Gura-Gura no Mi at all, as he uses Hashoken combined with his advanced armament haki against Sasuke, their haki clashing as Sasuke can see slight into the future and Naruto reads his intentions. Naruto would throw a blast of Conqueror's haki at Sasuke, and at this very moment, Sasuke would feel something snap, as a wave would come out of Sasuke himself, matching Naruto's Conqueror's haki, as a wave of Conquerors would crash into it, causing both sides of Orochimaru and the Shinobi Alliance to begin collapsing from the awakening of both Conqueror's haki users. Almost as if Naruto's presence was pushing Sasuke to evolve, to get even stronger as they fought. Naruto would yell out saying he doesn't have time for this, as he then covers his fists in advanced armament and Conqueror's haki, throwing a Gura-Gura Hashoken enhanced punch at Sasuke, and it's too fast. Sasuke can't dodge it, hitting him right in the gut as Sasuke goes flying, sprawling to the ground, knocked unconscious with a single hit. Naruto would turn, taking on both Orochimaru and Obito, with Orochimaru going after the statue and Obito going after Naruto. Obito utilizing the power of his Yami Yami Devil Fruit as he says, "Bura Coal," using it to suck Naruto towards him. Naruto would feel his Devil Fruit power leaving him as he feels the Sword no Mi deactivating, Apollo and Mimi being destroyed. "You bastard!" Obito would prepare to fight Naruto with his own haki as he throws a haki-enhanced punch, thinking there's nothing Naruto can do, even with his own haki. But Naruto would not be completely weakened as he throws up a punch to match it, both fists connecting, his fist being covered with the power of the Gura-Gura no Mi. At this exact moment, Kurama and Naruto would have had their talk, with Kurama agreeing to help Naruto defeat Madara, that bastard who had taken him over all those years ago. Naruto would scream out as he enters KCM2, his punch overpowering Madara as he uses Kamui to evade the attack, the Gura-Gura no Mi destroying the desert in front of him and creating an entire landscape shift as the tectonic plates would begin shifting, the power to destroy the world showing off. Killer Bee would arrive at the battlefield, with the 8 tails beginning to fight against the Geto Mazo statue as it's consuming his chakra. Black Zetsu would arrive, taking over Obito's now broken body as he tries to take the Rinnegan from Naruto. Black Zetsu harnessing the power of multiple Devil Fruits inside of itself, creating multiple extensions of its body with white Zetsus. Naruto would be easily taking on this enhanced power, using all of the strength at his disposal, as we have one final clash between a taken over Obito from White and Black Zetsu, trying desperately to revive Kaguya. But It's just not enough. With a Rinnegan enhanced Naruto with this much power, he would defeat Black Zetsu, killing Obito alongside Black Zetsu and wiping them out, using a Gura-Gura no Mi and breaking their bones to their core. Hey, he don't get no thought no jutsu there, eh? I'm sorry about that. Anyway, Naruto isn't sparing them. Naruto would rip them a new one in KCM2, destroying Black Zetsu and Obito, with them dying before Kakashi even arrived at the battlefield, and taking on the Geromazu statue along with Orochimaru's forces together with Killer Bee. Naruto would rage out with him and Killer Bee using a combined enhanced tailed beast bomb covered in advanced Conqueror's Haki coating, allowing them to blast through the statue, freeing the other tailed beast, and fighting off Orochimaru. With Orochimaru trying to claim a tailed beast for his own, we get this moment where Naruto calls out for everyone on the battlefield to help him as he raises his hand. Everyone on the battlefield giving a shard of their soul to Naruto, as Naruto using the Sorcerer no Mi's power would grow in height, becoming a giant. This Kurama avatar of Naruto becoming even bigger as it roars out, beginning to fight against Jugo in his massive Buddha form. We get a giant fox-enhanced Naruto fighting this Buddha in a massive kaiju battle. At the same moment, Sasuke would wake back up, enhancing himself and going into full Susanoo mode, using a perfect Susanoo to fight against both Jugo and Naruto. 3 kaiju battling it out as Naruto is throwing punches and tailed beast bombs, Sasuke is cutting him with his sword, and Jugo is throwing enhanced shockwaves from his fists. The remaining allied forces who hadn't been killed by Obito would re-emerge, all chasing in Orochimaru's direction, as we have one last battle, with Orochimaru being the final villain of Naruto. The battle ends with Naruto screaming out as he creates a massive attack coating from his fists, Conqueror's armament haki, Hashoken, Gura-Gura no Mi, and a giant cloud, as he then brings down the thunder, using 2 fists as he then uses a hammer fist on both Sasuke and Jugo, knocking them both out, and Sasuke finally admitting defeat to Naruto, saying he really is just the best. And the brothers' battle being over, with Sasuke having definitively lost. The rest of the battle is a wipe, with Orochimaru's forces getting wiped out and Orochimaru being defeated, with him being taken into custody as a prisoner of war, and the 4th Great Shinobi War officially being over. To wrap up the war, because Kaguya never was reawakened, the Geromaru statue would be placed inside of the Land of Iron, where the 5 Kage Summit meeting is held annually, where it would be protected by the Land of Iron, with all 5 Kage agreeing to be responsible for managing it, so if it's ever attacked or taken, to be responsible to take it back. With the war ending, Naruto had pardoned Konan, with her being freed and becoming an ambassador to the other villages for the Rain Village, with her becoming a Kage, officially being recognized as the Ame Kage, the Kage of the Land of Rain. Konan would be standing up for the Land of Rain, making sure that the other villages recognize it officially, and both the Land of Earth and the Land of Fire and the Land of Wind all contributing a third of land into this new nation, essentially cutting up portions of the borders of their land and making this a neutral territory for all nations, basically giving the Rain Village the center of the world map and making it where the 5 Kage Summit would be held from then on, and hence the Geromazu statue being held there. Sasuke would be in custody under Naruto as he begins his mission to atone for what he had done, being a terrorist and all, and Naruto would let him go free, with both of them keeping their arms in this timeline. Yay! Sasuke leaves the village with no tearful goodbye from Sakura or anything, since she hasn't seen him in years. Instead, giving Naruto a fist bump as Naruto continues to train to become a Jonin so he can become Hokage under Kakashi, Kakashi taking over from Tsunade as the 6th Hokage temporarily until Naruto can become the 7th, which officially brings us to the end of Naruto Shippuden. But this is not where our story will be ending. Instead, we'll be continuing on into Naruto the Last. After the end of the war, things had begun to take a turnaround. With all the villages being much closer after the most recent war, Naruto would be treated as a hero in his village, training outside as all the girls from the academy would be screaming out his name whenever they saw him. As winter was approaching, Naruto is now 19 years old, with him and Hinata having been officially dating for over 2 years now. Naruto basically has no competition in this, with the Hyuga clan respecting him for being the hero to basically single-handedly end the last war, and also essentially being the only candidate right now to become the next Hokage. So, when Toneri shows up after Naruto had received his scarf gift from Hinata, kidnapping her with her poison devil fruit to take her eyes and create a Tensagon, Naruto responds much quicker, with him being pissed. With the ones that had been sent to Earth originally being defeated by original Naruto, this Naruto would make quick work of them. Using Hoshoken and Haki, he would easily defeat them, with him now hearing from Toneri Otsutsuki that he will be coming for that girl. Naruto's eyes would squint as he looks up, staring into Toneri's eyes, his purple Rinnegan now meeting his Byakugan, as we basically see a flashback of Hagoromo and Naruto, and Hamura and Toneri. Naruto and Hinata would be sent out on that mission to investigate what's going on with the moon getting closer to Earth. Hanabi's eyes would be taken instead, with both Hinata and Naruto and the rest of the team being sent to the moon. Naruto saying he's going to take everything back from that guy. The same events occur where Hinata eventually is being brainwashed into becoming his wife, with Naruto showing up at the moon in Caesium 2. By this point, the Tenseigan has already been created, with him entering to that Tenseigan mode, using the power of chakra to its fullest. As Naruto would see something he hadn't been expecting. This guy was using these weird hand seals. What the heck was going on? Without a doubt, this Toneri Otsutsuki would be able to manipulate chakra with his bare hands. Toneri would tell Naruto that his abilities are unnatural, saying that something has corrupted the chakra on Earth, saying that his interpretation of Hagoromo's will was correct, with Hagoromo having banished Hamura and his people to the moon. The battle between Naruto and Toneri would be fierce, with Naruto using the power of the Gura-Gura no Mi, fighting against this guy's ninjutsu, using Kankura's Haki, which would terrify him, wondering what this odd power was. There was no records of this from the hundreds of years that they've been on the moon, his people. There was nothing about this strange power. Toneri be thinking as he's getting beaten to a pulp by Naruto's fists that something must have happened. Some strange entity has to have put these weird powers on the surface below. Was it another Otsutsuki? An Otsutsuki god? Or someone even above? Gura-Gura no Helmet Splitter. Naruto would bring down his foot cover with Gura-Gura no Mi power and Haki, destroying Toneri Otsutsuki and taking his Tenseigan. Returning to Earth as the moon is getting pushed back by Naruto, Naruto throwing a blast of Haki and pushing the entire moon back, enhanced with his Quake power. We see Naruto falling back to Earth with the moon in the background with Hinata as he kisses Hinata, asking her to marry him. Hinata would say yes as the end credits roll, with that scene of Boruto and Himawari coming out and jumping on Papa Naruto's lap. Hinata laughing as Naruto is still yet to be made Hokage. We have a small time skip of a few years as we see Naruto's face carved into the side of the Hokage statues, with the Rinnegan being a clear part of it. Naruto would now be the 7th Hokage, having been crowned himself, not being taken out by Himawari, thank God, because that was terrible. As we see Boruto in the academy, running from his teachers, as he would suddenly teleport, with them wondering, oh god, where did he go? We hear a strange stretching sound as we see Boruto now on top of the ceiling, having jumped up as he stretches his arm, moving to the next room over, giggling. As we see Naruto had inherited his master's Devil Fruit, blessing Boruto with Master Jiraiya's Devil Fruit after it had been recovered by Konan. We see Boruto leaping into the air using his stretched arms as he flies off towards the stone faces, off to cause some trouble for dear old dad. And that's it. That's the end for What If Naruto Had Devil Fruits. If you guys enjoyed this and want to see more, maybe hit the subscribe button and like this video so more people can see it, and I might go into Boruto. Who knows? Thank you to all of you who have made it this far. This story has been so fun for me to make. If you guys enjoyed this and want to see more Naruto and One Piece content, you should check out my What If Naruto Arrived at Marineford, which is just a small one-shot story. I think those of you who liked this story will love that one. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, and goodbye.